Hello. So there's a poet and author, she's passed away now, but one of my favorite authors of all time was Maya Angelou. And there are so many things that she's written that truly inspired me. First, as a young woman and as a woman today, I can completely see her and some of her things that she's written in a totally different light than I was able to when I was a child. The first thing that I ever read from her when I was younger in the Black Student Union back in the day when that was a thing in the schools, was a poem called Phenomenal Woman. That poem was so phenomenal, pun intended. And I highly recommend if you've never written any of her works, start there, start with Phenomenal Woman. But she had an interview some time ago. And as we're in this month of February, this is 2026. And if you saw my previous video, you'll know that this year for me is a study on love, capital L love. This is what I'm deeply searching this year, capital L love. Um, so not just external love, but internal deep stuff. And so Maya Angelou, she was in an interview one year, and in the interview, she said to the interviewer that she doesn't trust anyone who doesn't love themselves. She went on to say that how can someone love me if they don't love themselves? That they can lust after me, they can admire me, they could be envious of me, but they can't really love me if they don't love themselves. And I remember watching that interview and thinking, wow, like what a statement. How does that translate? If I don't love myself, then I can't love someone else. And I think the reason it hit me so hard is because there's sometimes you can hear something or read something and you just know. You know that there's a level of truth here that resonates deep within your soul, and there is no fuzziness to it. And so when she said that in that interview, it hit me hard. And so I wanted to talk about that today um, in this video. And so, hey girl, it's your friend Joyce. And today's video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about loving yourself from a deeper place. And so, if you, like me, had spent any time in religion, in religious institutions, it doesn't matter what religion you're a part of, but for the sake of this video, one religion in particular, the Christian faith, there's a lot of language and a lot of principles around loving others, that we are to love others more than ourselves, that we are to, it's better to give than it is to receive. And so there's a lot of language surrounding external love. Um, and so for me, I began to internalize that once I found religion. When I found religion, I knew that I would be a good Christian if I could show others how much I love them, that I could give to them. And no matter how tired I was or how depleted I was, as long as I showed up with a smile on my face, with a cheery disposition, and even if I were completely exhausted, that didn't matter either, as long as I showed up and gave, gave love to others. It became very exhausting. So when I heard this quote from Maya Angelou, and it had to do with loving yourself, that felt like a very counterintuitive statement for someone to make when we know Anyone of any religion knows that it is better to love other people than to love ourselves. We're not supposed to focus on ourselves. And as women, there is a great societal expectation that we are that. We are to give love. We are supposed to hold this level of compassion and patience and tenderness and understanding and forgiveness and all these beautiful qualities. And they all are very beautiful qualities. They're godly qualities. And yes, anyone who's alive wants to be the recipient of said qualities. But what I realized for myself and what I was witnessing in the other women around me, older women, women my age, younger women, was this twisted desire to give love. But as soon as you try to give it to them, self included, then there was a resistance to that. And so, speaking for myself, loving myself was a foreign concept because I'm not supposed to think of myself. I'm not supposed to consider what it would feel like to be loved. I'm supposed to be the giver of it. I'm supposed to sacrifice myself. And so, this twisted theology, and it is twisted, is actually not true, nor is it loving, nor is it kind, because all those things are wonderful characteristics of someone who could do that from the depths of their heart and actually mean it. Have you ever given something to someone and it could be something tangible or it could be something intangible, like you did something for someone or you were available for someone, like to be there for them, and you were extremely depleted yourself, having never received that. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking all of these negative thoughts. You are holding on to resentments and you're like cussing this person out in your head. But at the same time, externally, you showed up. You showed up, you did the thing, you gave the thing, whatever it is. So externally, you can receive whatever praise it was associated with the thing that you gave in the name of love. But was it a capital L love? Was it the love that satisfied your soul? Was it the love that was grounded in peace? Was it the kind of love that you gave that when you laid down at night, you felt like you did the thing that you knew you were supposed to do, and there's a level of peace associated with it? Or was it begrudgingly because there was an expectation of who you are as a person and as a woman that you should give this thing of yourself? And so when that quote from Maya Angelou spoke about loving yourself, it struck with me, especially as a counterintuitive statement, because I realized I hadn't spent much time loving myself. And so in today's world, there's so much talk, so many videos and rhetoric about self-love and self-care. And it's so superficial that it exhausts me because how many baths can I take? How much perfume can I spray? How beautiful can I make my hair? How lovely can I make my makeup? To the point where I'm freaking exhausted by that too, because that too is some external expectation that I love myself internally. This is what I want to talk about today. Because again, we're friends and we're having a conversation. And these are the kinds of conversations that I love to have with my friends, these real deep-seated conversations about love and about being real and about really showing up for ourselves in the world. And so, in this month of love, how are we really loving ourselves? So a few years ago, so every year I do a time away because my birthday's in December. I have some time away that I take for myself, and that started when I turned 40, which was 5 years ago now. And so I go away on a solo trip. And when I was 40, on my 40th birthday, I went away to a silent retreat. And it was the first time I had ever done anything like that. And I thought, this should be good for me. So I went to a place in Big Sur, and out here in California, there's this anyways, there's a place called Big Sur out here in California. And there's a silent retreat there. And so I went, and you're not allowed to talk to people. And the monks there, the oblates, they prepare food. So there's food. And even when you go get food in the area, the dining area, you're not allowed to talk to anyone. You just get your food and you go, go away. It's beautiful. It's in nature. There's so many lovely things for you to walk around and see and enjoy time with yourself. Well, the first 24 hours of that was absolutely miserable. You think you love yourself until you got to spend quality time with yourself. And this was a gift to myself, right? Torture. So that first 24 hours was really difficult. But ever since then, I've taken a trip every year on my birthday alone. I have come to a place where I absolutely love being by myself. I love spending time with myself. I think I'm funny, and I think that I have great ideas. And it gives me so much opportunity to write. And I wish I could draw. I wish I could paint, but I suck at it. I'm so bad at that. But for those of you who are, you have that lovely creative ability to paint or draw, blessings over you because I do not, but I can write a few things. And so now, so anyway, so one year, so back when I was 40, circle back, um, I was seeking what I should be looking forward to in the following year. And so, what I was prompted, because I do believe in God, and so I take that time alone to really hear from within and be able to get some guidance as to what I'm supposed to do in the upcoming year. That particular year, I was instructed to write down my weaknesses. What are my weaknesses? What are the areas in which that I find myself weak? Well, that was a really hard list to write because I had to be very honest with myself. And one of the things that I wrote down out of complete honesty was self-sabotage. Ooh, there were so many things that I start and stop because I get the idea and I think it's brilliant at first. And then I immediately stop it like halfway through or three-quarters of the way complete. And then I do not finish whatever the thing is. I will sabotage anything. This was 5 years ago now, right? But that was the beginning of me realizing how much I didn't love myself. Because anything that was solely a benefit to me, where no one else was the recipient of it, I had no logical reason to continue doing it because I felt unworthy. I felt like, who cares about this? No one cares about this thing that I'm doing. I'm the only one who's going to benefit from it. I'm the only one who likes it or thinks it's a good idea, and I was too afraid to share it with anyone else. So I listed out all these ways in which I had been self-sabotaging myself, not really realizing that it was the beginning of me figuring out how to love myself. If you've ever done internal family systems or if you've heard of IFS, right? It's this, psychological type of training, and a way of really embracing yourself, capital S self, your true core of your being. And so they have these principles. There's these, I think it's the 8 C's of the self. So in IFS, internal family systems, they have these 8 C's. And it's how do you know that you are operating in your truest form of yourself? And the 8 C's, to which I already know I'm going to mess up, feel free to look them up after, and I may include it in the description here after I record this. But so the 8 C's include curiosity, clarity, compassion, courage, confidence, calm, and all of these additional connectedness. So, all these qualities of you operating in your highest self. Well, these things, which are so beautiful, can be very difficult to attain when you don't really love yourself. And so, in my journey of trying to really love myself and to figure out who I even am, there were some steps that I needed to take in order to fully get there. Because how the hell was I going to love somebody else? Giving, 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 doing all the things you're supposed to be, showing up with a smile, being happy all the time. It's exhausting. And you know what else? It's all a lie. It is a lie. So, to be able to operate in true self love starts with an awareness of who you actually are, to recognize those darker emotions that, again, if you operated or have experienced an extended amount of time in religion, there is a lot of teaching that pushes you away from darker emotions because they're negative emotions like sadness or anger or fear or resentment, outrage, all those wild emotions that are unacceptable, depression, lust, ooh, all these horrible emotions that you should not feel. Once you begin to actually recognize that, number one, usually these emotions are real, they deserve respect, they're a part of who you are, and they're usually a temporary state of being. It's not fixed. The darker emotions are usually a temporary state, but you need to be able to be aware of when you're in that state. Accept it. So there's an awareness, there's an acceptance. And once you accept it, like, oh, I'm feeling rejected right now. I did this loving thing for someone and they didn't even say thank you, or, they didn't even care, or they told me that I did it wrong. Whatever the thing is, but I'm feeling really rejected right now. But religion's teachings would tell me, don't feel that. Don't feel that rejection. You just tell yourself something pretty and make it go away. And so there's this constant, dismissal of your darker emotions to the point where when you feel it, you reject it. And then there's a shame attached to it. Oh, I shouldn't feel that way. Yeah, you should. You should feel it. You should allow yourself to feel that emotion because it's real and it's information. Become curious about it. And then you give it compassion. I do feel rejected. I did this thing out of the kindness of my heart and you shit on it. You didn't even accept it. It was a gift and you rejected my gift. that makes me feel sad. That makes me feel rejected. It makes me not want to do something for you again. That's self-love. There is an awareness, there is an acceptance, and there is a compassion that you can have. And in that, you can speak confidently to the person and who you're engaging with. Because just going back to that quote that Maya Angelou said about how can I trust someone who doesn't love themselves? She's right. Because if I'm showing up inauthentically and I'm doing something that actually isn't honest, and I can't have this honest dialogue back with you about how I feel, then am I really loving you? Am I really loving myself? Or am I just putting up a front so that I could be accepted by you and reject myself in the process? True love doesn't reject itself. True love accepts itself, has compassion for itself, is aware of itself. And then, just to be clear, when we do have these darker emotions, which are a part of the human experience, there is a balance to everything. There is a darkness and there is a light. There's a yin and there is a yang. There is balance, and both are beautiful, wonderful, spiritual. Those kinds of things allow us to fully love ourselves. It is the beginning. And so, just like when I would self sabotage, it was a rejection of myself, thinking I'm not worthy of a thing. This is stupid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to be actually seen for this weird idea that I have. Well, be weird. It's great. So, I wrote a book last year. And in that book, I wrote it intentionally, and it was my first novel that I actually published. I'm currently in the process of writing two other novels, but this one in particular is really just a testament to women's ability to love themselves and the internal struggle that we usually suffer from, wrestle with, in order to get to a place of actual awareness and acceptance. So I'm going to read a really quick portion of a poem that the main character, Nikki, writes. She's sharing it with her best friend Rain in the book. And so this is my book. It's called A Truth That Whispers Lies. Yes, this is the proof copy, so it has a little thingy on there. But in the poem, she writes, "This darkness doesn't make me tremble. It invites me to gestate in its womb, welcomes my immature form and unevolved stature. Pain rips from me and extends its length toward it. Sadness twists itself into a knot alongside. Bitter, self-directed words link arms with loathing. Midnight caresses have magnetic pull into warmth. This darkness does not frighten me." This darkness does not frighten me. The poem is much longer than that in the book, but it's something that I wanted to mention today because I think for a lot of women, we are taught again to be this cheerful, upbeat, smiling, mm, patient, joyful presence. But the truth is, many of us don't actually get to be that until we've allowed ourselves to embrace the darkness that forms us. And so I wanted to share that bit of the poem with you all today. And so I'll leave you with that because this has turned a little longer than I thought it would. But again, my goal in this video and any video that I put out is a means of encouragement and a way for women to be seen. For me to be able to say, I see you, and others see you, and there is nothing wrong with you, and that you are loved. And the closer you get, each step you take to accepting more of who you are, all the weirdness, all the darkness, all the lightness, all the joy, it just brings you closer to who you are. And so we women could actually link arms with one another instead of looking down at one another, competing with one another, but to actually be able to embrace one another in a sisterhood that feels fulfilling and rewarding and joyful and free, to be able to cry and scream and yell. When's the last time you yelled? I think yelling is the best thing. It's so liberating. Not that I go around yelling all the time, but when you do, it feels good. I think that's why singing in the shower feels so good because you can kind of yell when you're in the shower and it's muted by the steam and the way the walls are built. But yeah, so take this message however your heart receives it and be well. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.